My name is Dylan. I'm 32 years old, and on the afternoon of August 8th, while I was supposed to be getting in shape, I died. Life was, well, it was normal. I'm a mechanic. I love the smell of grease and the feeling of fixing something that's broken. My wife, Lisa, is the best person I know. We have a little girl, Chloe. She's 5. She has these big brown eyes that just see right through you. I worried about the usual stuff, the bills, if I was being a good enough dad, the weird noise the car was making. I had my friends, my bowling night on Thursdays. I believed in God, went to church on Christmas and Easter. I thought that was enough. I had a bunch of tattoos. My first one was a tribal design on my bicep when I was 18. Dumb, I know. I had another one for my favorite band, a big eagle on my back that I got with my dad before he passed away, and Chloe's name, written in Lisa's handwriting, right over my heart. They were just part of me, part of my story. I never thought twice about them. Not really. That day, Lisa and Chloe were out getting groceries. I was in the living room trying to do one of those home workout videos. I was jumping around, feeling my age, when it happened. It wasn't like in the movies. There was no big, dramatic chest grab. It was just a switch flipped. A sudden hot pressure in my chest, like a star exploding. It stole my breath. I couldn't make a sound. My knees just gave out and I hit the rug. I remember thinking one stupid, simple thing. I left the toolbox out in the rain. That was it. My daughter's face flashed in my mind, her laugh from that morning. And then, nothing. Just black. The sound of the television host yelling encouragement just faded away into a deep, deep quiet. It was the most peaceful silence I have ever known. The panic was gone. The pain was gone. I felt light. I was floating. I opened my eyes. I don't know how, since my body's eyes were closed and I was looking down at myself. It was so strange. There I was, lying on the beige carpet, face down, one arm twisted under me. The television was still blaring. It didn't feel scary. It was more like I was watching a movie. I felt this gentle pull, like a slow-moving river, and I started to drift upwards. I went right through the ceiling. I saw the wooden beams, the insulation, the roof shingles, and then I was above my house. I could see the whole neighborhood, the cars moving, people walking their dogs. It was all so normal, but I was separate from it. I wasn't cold, I wasn't hot. I just was. A deep humming sound started to fill everything. It wasn't a noise in my ears, it was a feeling in my soul. It was a sound of pure, complete peace. The world below started to fade, like a photograph sinking in water. The blue sky turned into a soft, dark velvet, and in the center of that darkness, a light appeared. It started as a tiny pinprick like a single star, but it grew, expanding and getting brighter and brighter. It wasn't a blinding light, though. It was a welcoming light. It felt alive. I wasn't moving towards it. It was moving towards me. Or we were moving towards each other. The closer it got, the more I could feel it. It was love. That's the only word I have, but it's not a big enough word. It was a love that knew every single thing about me, every bad thought I'd ever had, every mistake I'd ever made, every secret I kept hidden and didn't just accept me. It celebrated me. It was a feeling of coming home after being lost for 1,000 years. Tears filled my eyes. But I had no eyes. The feeling of crying was there, a release of every burden I had ever carried. As the light surrounded me, it took on a form. It was a man, but he was made of this light. His clothes were like woven starlight. His face, I can't describe it perfectly. It was like looking at the sun and seeing a million happy memories all at once. But his eyes, oh, his eyes, they weren't a color you could name. They were filled with a liquid joy and a deep, ancient sadness all at once, and they looked at me with a love that took my breath away. Again. I didn't need to ask. I knew. My whole being, my entire soul, screamed his name. Jesus. His voice wasn't a sound. It was a thought that appeared in my mind, but it was warmer than any sound. It felt like my own father's voice, and 1,000 other loving voices all wrapped into one. Welcome, Dylan. I've been waiting for you. I just sobbed. I couldn't speak. I didn't know what to say. I felt so small, so unworthy. I thought about all the times I'd taken his name in vain, all the Sundays I skipped church to watch football. The guilt started to creep in, but he just washed it away. Peace, that is all finished. He raised a hand, also made of light, and gently motioned for me to look at myself. I did. I was also made of a sort of light, but it was dimmer than his. I looked for the tattoos on my arms, on my chest. They were gone. My skin, my spiritual skin, was clean. It was perfect. I felt a wholeness I had never known on earth, a freedom. I looked at him, confused. He knew my question before I could form it. The stories you wrote on your earthly body are not the story of who you truly are. And then he showed me. It wasn't like watching a screen, it was like I was in the moments. He wanted me to understand something he said the church was getting confused about. Something about the marks we put on our bodies. First, he took me to a tattoo parlor. It looked like any other one. The buzz of the needle, the smell of antiseptic. A young man, maybe 19, was in the chair. He was getting a tattoo of a snarling wolf, full of rage. His heart was full of anger towards his father. He wanted the world to see his pain, to see his toughness. But Jesus showed me what was happening in the spirit. As the needle put the ink into the skin, I saw a small, smoky, dark thread come out of the image. It was thin, like a spider's web, and it connected to the young man's spirit. It wasn't a demon. It wasn't possession. Jesus made that clear. It was an anchor, a spiritual tie. He has marked his temple with the story of his anger. Jesus explained, his voice full of sorrow, and that mark will now give his anger a home, a place to live and grow. It is a doorway he opened himself, inviting the spirit of rage to whisper to him whenever he is weak. He thinks it makes him strong, but it has chained him to his own pain. I watched as the young man's life flashed forward. I saw him lose his temper in traffic. I saw him get into fights. I saw relationships break because of that rage, which was now fed and given a place of honor on his very skin. It was heartbreaking. Then, the scene changed. We were somewhere else. A clean, bright studio. A woman in her 40s was getting a tattoo on her wrist. It was a beautiful script that said, "Forever in my heart," with her mother's dates of birth and death. Her heart was full of love, but also deep, deep grief. This is a mark of love, Jesus said, but it is a love chained to earthly loss. He showed me her spirit. The tattoo was like a tiny spiritual anchor that kept a part of her soul tied to the graveyard. It kept her grief fresh. Every time she looked at it, she wasn't just remembering her mother's life. She was reliving the pain of her death. He showed me her mother in heaven, whole and happy, waiting for her daughter. But the daughter on earth was chained to the tomb by a mark of her own choosing. She honors the memory of the dead. He said, but in doing so, she makes it harder to live the life she has been given. It keeps her eyes looking down at the dust instead of up toward the promise of reunion. The healing of her heart is slowed because she has etched her wound onto her own body. I stood there, stunned. I thought of the eagle I had for my dad. I thought it honored him. I didn't realize it was tying me to the pain of his absence. Then he showed me the one that shocked me the most. A young woman full of passion for her faith was getting a large, ornate cross tattooed on her back. She was so proud. She was telling the artist how she wanted to be a walking testimony for Jesus. I thought, this one has to be good, right? Jesus looked at me, and his eyes were filled with a gentle pity. My child, his thought echoed through me. Do they believe my mark on their heart is not enough? He showed me the spiritual reality. As the cross was drawn on her skin, it became a point of pride. He showed me her future. She would show off the tattoo at church picnics. She would feel superior to Christians who didn't have one. The symbol, meant to represent humility and sacrifice, had become a token of religious pride. "I did not ask for my name to be carved in skin," he said, his voice resonating with a deep truth. "I asked for it to be carved on the heart. The enemy cannot see the mark on the heart, but he can see the one on the skin, and he will use it. He will whisper to her, 'Look at your great sacrifice. Look at your great devotion.' He will make her trust the symbol more than she trusts the Savior. It becomes a religious idol, a thing she carries for her own glory, not mine." My whole being just trembled. It all made a terrible kind of sense. Finally, he brought my own life into view. He showed me myself at 18, getting that tribal tattoo. He let me feel the arrogance and rebellion in my heart that day. I wanted to look cool. I wanted to defy my parents. And he showed me that a small echo of that rebellious spirit had been given a place to live on my arm for all these years. He showed me the tattoo from my favorite band. He showed me how it connected me to worldly pride, to the empty culture of fame. It wasn't a huge, terrible sin. It was just a tie, an anchor holding me to things that had no eternal value. And then he showed me the tattoo of Chloe's name over my heart. "You love your daughter," he said, and his love for me in that moment was overwhelming. "That is good, but your ultimate identity must be in me. Your first love must be for the one who created you and your daughter. By putting her name over your heart, you have declared her the guardian of that space. But only I can truly guard your heart." It's a subtle shift, a small confusion, but it is enough to keep your focus here on this temporary home. I finally understood. It wasn't about the ink. It wasn't about a rule in a book. It was about the spirit. It was about freedom. Every mark, made in anger or grief, or even in misguided devotion, was a tiny thread that tied our eternal spirit to a temporary feeling, a temporary identity. He created us to be free, to be completely His, and we were unknowingly chaining ourselves to the world, to our own broken stories. "Your body is a temple, Dylan," he said. "Not because it is a holy building, but because it is where my spirit is meant to live. These marks are graffiti on the temple walls. They are the stories of men, not the story of God. My story is one of redemption. It is not written in ink, but with the blood I shed for you. That is the only mark you will ever need." I fell to my knees in the light, but there was no floor. I just knelt in his presence. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "I didn't know. I didn't know. And that is why you must go back." The words hit me like a physical blow. Go back? To the pain? To the world of noise and bills and broken things? I looked at his face, and I saw my home. "No," I begged. "Please, don't make me go. I want to stay here with you. Please." I was crying again, that deep, soul-shaking cry. It felt too good here. The love was too perfect. Going back felt like dying a second time. He came closer, and the light from him was so warm. He put a hand on my shoulder. "Your work is not done. Many of my children are chained, and they do not even know it. They think they are decorating the temple when they are locking its doors from the inside. You saw the truth. You must go and tell them." He paused, letting his words sink in. "Tell them not with judgment, but with the love you have felt here. Tell them it is not about shame, it is about freedom. Tell them to bring their marked bodies to me, to bring their stories, their anger, their grief, their pride, and I will begin the work of writing a new story on their hearts. I will heal them from the inside out." He leaned in, and I felt a thought that was just for me. "Lisa and Chloe need you, Dylan. Your story with them isn't over. Go and love them with the love I have shown you. Go and be a father who points his daughter to her true father." The mention of their names. It was a stab of beautiful, terrible pain. I saw Chloe's face, her big brown eyes. I saw Lisa's smile. The love I felt for them swelled in my chest. I knew he was right. "I don't want to leave you," I choked out. "I will never leave you," his voice promised. "I will be with you. Now go." And with that word, go, I felt that gentle river turn into a rushing waterfall, pulling me backwards, away from the light. I reached out, trying to hold on, but it was gone. The darkness swallowed me, and the peace was replaced by a terrifying falling sensation. A bolt of lightning shot through my every cell, a pain so intense it was a white light in my head. I gasped, a huge, ragged breath that burned my lungs. My chest felt like a truck had parked on it. We got a pulse, we got him back. My eyes fluttered open. The ceiling was white. There were faces above me, people in blue uniforms. An oxygen mask was strapped to my face. The sound was a mess of beeping and frantic voices. Dylan, can you hear me? You had a massive cardiac arrest. You've been down for a while. I saw Lisa then, in the corner of my vision. Her face was pale, streaked with tears. She was holding her phone, which had probably been used to call 911. Our eyes met. The relief that washed over her face is a picture I will never forget. I was in the hospital for days. The doctors were baffled. They used words like miracle and medically unexplainable. They told Lisa I was clinically dead for over 7 minutes. 7 minutes. No pulse, no breath. They said by all accounts, I should have had severe brain damage if I survived at all. But I was fine. Perfectly fine. My heart was damaged, but my mind was clearer than it had ever been. I tried to tell a doctor what I saw. He just smiled politely and wrote something down on his clipboard. Probably hallucination, due to lack of oxygen. But I knew. It was more real than the hospital bed I was lying in. So now I'm here. And I know this all sounds crazy. A year ago, I would have thought I was crazy. But I can't keep what I saw to myself. I still have my tattoos. I look at them in the mirror every day, but they don't look the same to me anymore. I don't see a cool design or a memory of my dad. I see an anchor. I see a story that isn't the one God wants to write for me. I'm not here to tell you to get your tattoos removed or to condemn you if you have them. That's not what Jesus told me to do. He told me to share his love. He told me to tell you about freedom. So I'm asking you to just look. Look at the marks on your body and be honest. What is the story behind them? Did you get it in anger? In pain? In pride? To fit in? Even if you got it with a good heart, is it possible it's keeping a part of you tied to this world, to a memory, to a religious symbol, instead of to the living God? Bring that story to him. In your prayers, just talk to him about it. Say, Jesus, here's this mark. Here's why I got it. Here's the anger, or the grief, or the pride behind it. And I give it to you. I don't want to be tied to this story anymore. Please, start writing your story on my heart. That's the only tattoo that matters. The one he writes. It's a mark of pure grace, invisible to the world, but it sets you completely and totally free. That's what he showed me, and it changed everything.